Hey everyone, welcome back to the Guided Programming Coaching Call. I'm Coach Mike. First question up this week says, I'm trying to be a good student in optimizing TRAC and using TRAC as much as possible. I know how much it bothers you to see athletes not using it. For the most part, my long-term fatigue is too low, but my short-term fatigue is much higher than expected. Otherwise, it's saying that my recovery and training are normal and to continue as planned. I'm wondering what this means. If this is something I should be concerned with, or if it's simply due to a lack of data. I've only been using it about 2 weeks. TRAC aside, my training is feeling great. So what's going on here is that you've got your today's fatigue load, and that measure is from obviously today's measurements, and it's compared to your history. That's telling you how much fatigue you're carrying right at this moment. Your long-term fatigue is a 30-day average of today's fatigue. And we have some predefined values for what range we want to see that in. Too low is not necessarily a bad thing. That's okay. So if it's too low and you're still progressing in your training, that's okay. Now, if it's too low and you're not progressing in your training, then that will indicate to us that you have more recovery reserves that are untapped and that we can push your training a bit harder to get you better results. But as long as you're progressing, too low is not a problem. The short-term fatigue is a bit different. Short-term fatigue is a 4-day rolling average, and how it determines whether that's higher or lower than expected, etc., is by comparing it to the other data points, past data points, using the same volume levels. So the volume that you're putting into TRAC does matter. In this case, it's telling you that it's higher than expected, but it doesn't really have a whole lot to go on in terms of what's expected. So I wouldn't really worry about your short-term fatigue until you get some more data points. But after that, I would expect that all of them are going to match up a little bit better. You can still have instances where different parameters are out of whack, but it's much more common to see those things kind of all telling a similar story.